On August 18, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe, and we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting. And thank you very much for being here.
Several European leaders at the White House to discuss the ongoing war in Ukraine and possible steps toward peace. The meeting marked a notable improvement in diplomatic tone. Zelensky repeatedly thanking Trump and even delivering a personal letter from his wife to First Lady Melania Trump.
Diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
The Ukrainian president handed over a letter from his wife to Melania Trump, who herself has written to President Putin about the plight of Ukrainian children who've been kidnapped to Russia.
War in Ukraine has had a
European leaders, including British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron, described the talks as constructive, showing unified support for Ukraine.
That hasn't been affected. And when we talk about security, we're talking about the security not just of Ukraine, we're talking about the security of Europe and the United Kingdom as well, which is why this is such an important...
I think if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited. And let's make the best out of today and make sure that from today onwards, we get this thing to an end as soon as possible.
The next steps ahead are the more complicated ones now. The path is open. You opened it last Friday. But now the way is open for complicated negotiations. And to be honest, we all would like to see a ceasefire, the latest from the next meeting on. I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire. So let's work on that, and let's try to put pressure on Russia.
A key topic was establishing strong security guarantees for
within
Ukraine.
reach, and I believe that in a very significant step, President Putin agreed that Russia would accept security guarantees for Ukraine, and this is one of the key points that we need to consider, and we're going to be considering that at the table also, like who will do what, essentially. I'm optimistic that collectively we can reach an agreement that would deter any future aggression against Ukraine, and I actually think there won't be. I think that's even overrated, largely overrated, but we're going to find out. And
while NATO membership was not
NATO-style agreement,
leaders discussed a $100 billion defense aid package funded by European countries.
In the 6 wars that I've settled, I haven't had a ceasefire. We just got into negotiations, and one of the wars was, as you know, in the Congo was 31 years long. Another one that we settled last week with 2 great countries was 35 years going on, and we had no ceasefire. So if we can do the ceasefire, great. And if we don't do a ceasefire, because many other points were given to us, many points were given to us, great points.
Trump pledged U.S. air support, but ruled out sending American troops. Zelensky insisted Ukraine needs clear security commitments within 7 to 10 days to continue negotiations.
We will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, of personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war.
The idea of a future peace summit involving Trump, Zelensky, and Russian President Vladimir Putin was also discussed. Trump even called Putin during the meeting.
Indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting.
Talks also touched on controversial issues like potential territorial compromises and the humanitarian crisis, including the return of Ukrainian children taken by Russian forces.